Hey there, welcome to my channel. This is Erica from Highland Hickory Designs, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can determine approximately how big a tapestry crochet project will be when it's finished. Say if you created the graph by yourself or if those finished numbers weren't indicated. So we know that tapestry crochet is made up of single crochets, which can be quite tiny, of course. So for a simple chart of 10 by 10, this is the finished product of the 10 by 10. Very small. Let's say we wanted to determine before we even start this project how big it's going to be when it's finished. What you would do would be to create a swatch. It doesn't have to be this big. It can be much, much smaller. I just had this on hand from other videos that I've made. You're going to need a ruler, and you're going to single out one of these stitches that you can see clearly, and you're going to measure the height and the width of that stitch. So when you're measuring the height, we're going to do this stitch right here, and when you're measuring, you measure from this point, this line right here, to the base of the stitch. You don't measure from this upper part of the stitch. So you want to line this up with the top of the stitch right here and the very bottom. This single crochet stitch worked with an H8 5mm hook, and size 4 medium weight yarn is 1/4 of an inch tall. So when we want to measure the width, we are going to measure from this point here, the line where these two stitches meet, to the line where the next stitch meets. So that is also 1/4 of an inch, approximately. So one stitch is 1/4 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch using this specific hook and yarn. We know from our chart that this is 10 rows high by 10 stitches wide, and we know that 1/4 of an inch is for each of these blocks, and that comes to a total of 2.5 inches height. And we know that each of these squares is 1/4 of an inch wide times the number of blocks, which is 10, to also give us 2.5 inches wide. We can say with a good bit of confidence that this entire chart, when completed, would be 2.5 inches high by 2.5 inches wide. So let's measure our finished product to see how accurate it was. Okay, so here is the finished product. We are going to measure from the top here it goes that way. Okay. We are going to measure from the top line here to the bottom. These stitches are really loose because those were the chains at the very beginning, but the base of the stitches right here is actually at the 2.5 mark. And then if we check the width, you don't include this knot here from the very beginning. You want to line it up as best you can with this row. Let's see if we can put this over top. Okay, so it came slightly larger than 2.5, but barely, and there's actually quite a few indents in the side here. It's not completely straight, as you can see. There's some indents. So yes, it's slightly larger than 2.5, but this is just an approximation method so that you can get a rough idea of how big it's going to be, which it's close enough to getting you to the proper width to give you enough of an idea of how big your finished project is going to be. Another way you can do it if you don't want to take it by single crochets, because that's kind of small and tedious, is you can take a row of 2. We know that these lines separate 2 rows. So if you take from line to line, which is a little less than 1/2 inch, and maybe do 2 stitches, you know, from this point to this point, and then you could do it that way. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, please leave those in the comments below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.